Hey everybody, welcome to Freedom Ranch Homestead. My name is Brooke and I'm coming to you from inside of our tractor. I am about to do some mowing on this very chilly, blistery day and found that it was nice and quiet in here so that I could kind of give you a little talking to about what has been happening here. I promised you a video on the last video. I said that I would be coming out midweek with an update on the Refuge at Freedom Ranch and also kind of to a little description as to what we experienced when we went to the Homesteaders of America conference the other weekend. For those of you who do not know what the Refuge is, it is a nonprofit organization, a charity that Chuck and I are starting here on our ranch. We have been officially recognized by the Commonwealth of Virginia and have our certificate of incorporation. So that is very exciting news. And I believe also that the IRS recognizes us as a nonprofit charity. So we are able to kind of get the ball rolling with things. So the next phase is to kind of figure out exactly what the Refuge is going to look like. We have a big area, we call it our back field, that we will be using mainly for haying next spring, next summer. But it's a perfect flat area for, a horse ring, for stables, for cabins to be built up into the trees. We had been involved with a charity in Raleigh called Hope Reigns. And what they would do is they would pair up rescue horses with children from abused backgrounds or just any children who needed just some special attention, who are having difficult times. And so they would apply to get into this program, and then they would be paired up with a horse, and then they would do all sorts of activities from there and learn how to really trust the horse, and the horse learns to trust them. And we just absolutely loved the organization. And so that's kind of what we're thinking, the lines that we want to go on. I definitely, no doubt, want to work with children who come from challenging backgrounds. In this area, and all over the world, but especially in this area, there is a high instance of drug abuse, methamphetamine. And so there are a lot of children in the foster care system here, as they are all over the country. And they are no doubt in need of some R&R time, playing time with animals, and riding horses on trails and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of where I'm leaning. And I personally have a desire to do that is because, I know what it's like to grow up in a home with addiction as an issue. And so I have a personal desire to help these children who grew up in homes where life was unpredictable. So it tugs at my heart, because I believe that children who come from homes that have a high addiction rate or even abuse rate, but for me, the relation is with the addiction portion, whether it be alcohol, pills, whatever, the addiction is, it's devastating for the family that's involved, and especially for young children, because children need a comfortable, safe place to grow up, a place where they feel like they can express themselves safely, that they know that their food is going to be put on the plate each night, that just that that they're loved and accepted for who they are. And when someone's deep in addiction, it's really hard to give that to another person, because when you're an addict, it's all about you. It's very challenging to be there for another human being when your number one desire is to get high or to get drunk. And these children suffer greatly because of that. And so they have two paths, I see, that, obviously there are many paths, but two main paths that a child who grew up in that environment can go on. And the first one is to say, I will never do that. I will never be like my parents. I will never drink. I will never use drugs. I will, heal myself mentally, physically, however needs to be healed, and move on to life having a very positive outlook and attitude. And I think that's very, very rare because I think the other fork that most children will take is they will follow in the footsteps of their parents. because it's what they know. It's what they have grown up with. It's comfortable for them, even though it's very devastating and very, very negative. It's a comfortable thing for them. And so a lot of times these children will choose to get involved with drugs and alcohol at a very early age. So our job, what we hope that we can do for these children, is give them a sense of well-being, give them a little glimmer of hope, help them to know Christ, because this will be a Christ-centered charity, and to give them an understanding that they do not have to abuse themselves. You know, they do not have to follow the path that their parents have led, one or two, however many. And so that is really what I'm hoping for the Refuge. And I know Chuck is as well. He wanted to be here. He wanted to be part of this film, but he had to travel this week, and I promised I would get it out midweek. So that's why it is just me talking to you today. But the other thing is that we've considered helping parents who have lost their children to addiction. A good friend of mine, who's also the secretary of the Refuge, lost her son not long ago, maybe less than a year ago, to addiction. And it's devastating. It's absolutely devastating for the parent. Sorry, I'm tearing up. I just can't even imagine losing a child to a disease that can be prevented. You know, that there is help, that there is a way out. And so, we've discussed the option of having a place for parents to come and find healing and go hiking and ride horses and, just find a respite from their grief. And so, so that's another option as well. Sorry. I told myself I wasn't going to cry, but here I am. So that is an option. That would obviously require a little bit larger facilities for people to come and stay. But hey, why not dream big? God's in charge here. He gave us this behind us. He gave us this property. And so, he can work miracles. So anyways, let me get it together here. So, and then the other option that we have been tossing around is having a place for refugees to come. My father would go over twice a year to Ukraine, first to Donetsk and then to Kiev, once Donetsk was not available to preach in, and he would teach at seminary for a couple weeks twice a year. And obviously he's not able to do that right now. But our son Gabriel was able to go over for a couple weeks, a couple years ago, and he got to, really experience what Kiev is like. We would really like to possibly help those who are now homeless because of war. Mothers and children who had to leave their husbands and their sons in Ukraine to fight, and they need a place to stay that's safe and comfortable. So, or just families who have been dispersed even after the case, full families. We don't know what this is going to look like, but we are throwing options out there. Those are some of the ideas we're coming up with, friends. We would love your input on any thoughts that you might have, because this is going to happen. Like, we feel really, really compelled to do something good with the amazing gifts that God has given us. And, if you are a believer, that the greatest joy, well, even if you aren't a believer, but if you know that serving others brings you the most joy, if you have experienced that in your lifetime, then you know why we're doing this. It cannot be all about us. It cannot be just about Chuck and us and our kids living here on the ranch with animals. It has to be more. There has to be more. And so that's why we're doing this. And we know that the greatest fulfillment, the greatest joy in life comes by being of service to others, just as Christ did when he came to us. He came to serve us. He came to save us. And if we could be any bit, just a little bit like him, then we know that we're going in the right direction. So, enough of that. So now you guys know a little bit more about the Refuge and what we plan on doing here, and that it is a serious thing. We don't take it lightly, and we hope that it will happen. We just pray it will happen one way or another. Even if the channel's not like booming and we're making a lot of money, because for those of you who don't know, the proceeds that come from the YouTube channel go directly into the refuge. So that's another reason why we're doing all this documentation and everything, is so that you guys can help out just by watching. As my husband says, all you gotta do is watch, and there you're given to charity, which is the truth. Also, we may have to get grants. We may have to, well, I don't know. We got to hire someone who's used to doing this kind of stuff, because I have never worked for a nonprofit organization. I don't know how it happens or how it works, but I am willing to be there to help out in any way that I can. So if you have any guidance, please share a comment. Let us know. On to the next subject, the Homesteaders of America conference. We had planned to do this last year. We had tickets. Chuck and I were going to go, and we obviously were very busy building the yurt, and then Chuck got COVID. So we obviously were not able to go last year. So this year we were both very healthy, and we got our tickets and we got our hotel, and we made our trip. About 3.5 hours away from here was where the Homestead of America conference was. Ooh, that wind is blowing. This tractor's a shaking, baby. Anyways, and I had no idea what to expect. I just had no idea. I was like, well, this may be just kind of really lame, but who knows? And I have to say that I was extremely pleased with it. I think they did an amazing job. They had 4 large, I believe it was 4 large tents, and then one big barn area for different speakers. And so there were different speakers happening throughout the 2 days. You could kind of pick and choose what you wanted to go to and sit and listen. And I believe there were about 5,000 people there. I think they're going to have to expand on it, because I know the tickets sold out very soon. So when we went, there were also a ton of vendors, and really cool vendors, like amazing stuff that people are creating off of their homesteads and coming to sell or to teach, or to make available to others. Really amazing stuff. I was extremely pleased with the things that I saw, and the creativity that people have come up with woodworking or jewelry making or soap making. It was a pretty cool experience.
You're giving samples on
I
stuff?
am. Sure. Which flavor would you like?
Can I try the honey pecan?
Sure.
You buy a raffle ticket, and then you just drop it in the bucket that you want to try.
Where are you all out of?
I'm at Front Royal, right here in town.
That's delicious.
Isn't it amazing?
I
With
love
fruit,
your
it's a
cheese.
charcuterie board dream.
Very tasty.
Which one did you try?
I tried the honey pecan. Fireball.
Dave would be happy if we did sheep.
As long as he didn't have to do the work.
Yes, only 5 years old.
But I do want to talk about a couple of the other YouTubers and a couple of the speakers. I met Stacy from Doug and Stacy, Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, and she was amazing. She was so gracious and so kind to spend time with me.
Appreciate
Right?
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
appreciate all that you teach everyone. It's pretty awesome.
Oh,
So,
thanks.
yeah, and
It's
especially
awesome
your
to see.
enthusiasm and your positivity. I absolutely love.
Well, you got it too. She's
I
got it.
tried.
She's
got
got
it too.
She's got a great channel. She does a
thanks,
really
thanks.
good job. But way behind you guys. You guys are so far ahead, but we're several
we're like
years
the
behind.
grandma and grandpa. We've been doing it a
Well,
little
We've
bit.
been doing it a long
Yeah.
time. So
That's us too.
That's why you
Yeah.
know everything, and that's why I'm learning everything. So I'm looking forward to
But you
learning
know
a
what?
lot
That's
more.
the journey. It's the journey. It's actually just living it and doing it and making mistakes.
Yes.
And
I
that'll
make
be a
lot
better
of them.
person.
Yeah. Especially with gardening. I definitely want to learn.
She's doing great.
But you know, every year's different, and you're still, even if you know what you're doing, things happen. So.
Yeah.
She made me feel like, okay, I can do this, because, for those of you who know me, I grew up in Southern California. And I did not grow up on a big piece of property. I did not grow up on land. There's not a lot of land out there to grow up on if you're near the beach. So all of this is very new to me, especially the gardening part. We tried to have a garden in Raleigh where we lived, but we had way too many trees and not enough sunlight. And so it did not work. And so all of this gardening stuff is brand new to me, and it's very nerve-wracking. We planted that big garden, and I just felt like it was a hot mess, and I really avoided going up to tend it because I just was so afraid of failure. I have these insecurities that come out when it comes to learning something new and trying something new, and I was pretty insecure about this garden. So I didn't tend to it a whole lot. But I want to change that. And this next year, I want to plant a garden that is absolutely beautiful, filled with tons of veggies that we can and store up for the winter time. So that's my goal. And so Stacy gave me that confidence in knowing that everybody has to start from scratch. We all got to learn at some point how to do something. And here I am, almost 52 years old. Ooh, did I mention my age? But I feel like I am back in school and that I'm trying to learn this whole new way of living, and it's very intimidating. And but I'm doing it. I'm pushing forward. I'm doing it. Sorry, I don't know why I'm so emotional today. Oops. So, you know, Chuck grew up on a farm, so he knows a lot about how things work. And so I'm just kind of relying on him to give me some guidance, but I need to learn on my own. And you know, the people that I met at the conference gave me that confidence to know that I can learn, and I can learn from them. There's tons of YouTubers out there that offer a lot of advice and guidance. And so I'm going to use that. Anyways, we also, you know, we saw Joel Salatin.
To repossess your knowledge. And so having a people-centric, people-focused equity farm is actually a more nimble way to have your farm business.
And his son about doing a whole migration with the animals, and so that helps kind of give nutrients to the land. And
if you put chickens down and they put down all that nutrients, I recommend that you don't bring the chickens back to that spot for a year. Why? Not because the grass hasn't recovered, because the nutrients haven't been used up.
Lots of good stuff. There was some interesting beehives. Learned about a beehive because we know nothing about our beehive and how to get bees and stuff.
We just polished off some really tasty barbecue. And we are now going to go see about beekeeping, aren't we, babe? Mm-hmm. I have a beehive with no bees in it. Yeah. So we don't know what to do. So we're going to learn a little bit.
Bees naturally build comb longer than they do wider, right? So if you see bees in nature, they build comb longer than wider. So this is not how they naturally build comb in a tree. You have those for sale over there. I love it because it's a 1.5-inch hole. It's super easy to make, and then that's got different settings on it. So I can have.
We met, let's see who else. Oh, I met Jess from Roots and Refuge, and she was very gracious as well.
I love that. I am Brooke, and this is my husband, Chuck.
Hi.
And I just want to say that I really appreciate. I got your beginner's gardener book. We just moved from the city of Raleigh to southwestern Virginia last year to start a homestead. Awesome. Something I've never done before. So that book really has helped me out a little bit. It's going to help me out even more come springtime. So, and then we're going to, I don't know if I can sign this.
Yes, absolutely.
You can sign that.
Congratulations on the new property and embarking on such an adventure. People grabbed hold of. I wasn't an expert. Didn't pretend to be. There were so many different things that, like, at the time when I started, a lot of people who were successful really knew their stuff, and so here I am, like, I really don't know my stuff at the time.
You were just,
you know, it was just authentic stories.
Because I know how you started, guys. You guys started on a smaller piece of property with a smaller backyard for the garden and everything, and then which was absolutely gorgeous. And then now you guys live in South Carolina. Is that correct?
Yeah, we upscaled quite a lot. So
you like it?
Oh yeah,
that's awesome.
For sure.
Who else did I meet? Oh, we met Aaron and Josh of Wild Wonderful Off Grid. They were awesome. They gave us confidence in the whole construction thing because Josh was an electrician to begin with, so he has some background in the construction. But I asked them, did they know very much when they came, and they said no, we really did not know anything. And so it's pretty inspiring to see what they have done with their A-frame and all the other stuff that they're doing right now. Let's see who else. Oh, let me just say, Doug from Doug and Stacy is a riot. I always thought he was kind of like a weirdo. Sorry. But I just thought he was a little over the top. But he was so fun. And one of the things I loved about him is that he encouraged people who wanted to become homesteaders that were not yet to just go out and do it. You know, get a small piece of property, start a garden, and just start living off the land and learning how to be independent as opposed to, you know, dependent upon the government and upon stores. And he's just full of energy, and I just soaked it in. I thought it was amazing.
Now, who wants to have a homestead? And that's why you're here, right? Yeah, you want to learn some good stuff. Well, that'll be at 3:30. So always remember that. You're looking at a person when you see him for the first time or whatever, but you don't know anything about all those years that got him there, okay? So the struggle is real, right? And we don't really candy coat it or anything, so we're going to share with you guys how we struggled through in the beginning. And this is going to be relevant because as you guys start off on a budget, and you grow your systems, and maybe you're able to do a market garden, or maybe you're bringing on some animals, maybe you're doing chicken butchering, or you're able to start providing income off of your property, right? Then you're going to be able to reinvest back into your property, and that's the same thing we've done.
You know, there's so much to be said about reading a book or even watching it on television, but when you actually do it and you get your hands dirty, it makes a huge difference. So when I went to the Amish and I would see they were talking about, oh, they're getting ready to process their chickens, I'm like, oh, I'd love to help. And they're like, sure, come on over, you know.
We had a girl come up. After we were talking to Doug and Stacy, she had overheard us saying that we lived in a yurt, and she came up to us. She lived in Florida, and she said that she wanted more than anything to start a homestead, and that she had looked into a yurt, but she was scared to death. Like, she just couldn't make it happen because she was just so scared. To see her like look to us and say like, wow, you know, you're doing it. That's really cool. And it just made me feel really good that I inspired her maybe just a little bit to try and go and do this life as well. You know, it was a great experience. Highly recommend it to others. Anyways, that's enough. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I promise to have another one out this weekend on the log home update. Things are moving so fast. Oh my gosh, I am getting extremely excited for what our house is going to be like. We just appreciate you all. Thanks for subscribing and watching and pressing that like button and letting us know how you're doing. So please comment. We love hearing from you. You guys take care, and may God bless you richly. Midnight, you gotta move. Move it. But there's no horn on this. There you go, girl. Thank you, my love.